Hey guys, it's Pearlyn. I'm back again with another video. For today's video, we're gonna do something a little different. So we've had tarot pick a card readings, but for today's video, it's gonna be channel readings. It's gonna be a slightly different format. Basically, channel readings are messages that are just intuitively gathered to be shared with all of you. There will be timestamps provided, so if you feel called to pick a specific number, you can then pick from there. But before we jump right into the reading, I just wanted to share a few things that are coming up. I'm going to be launching a few more dates for the Mindful Tarot Classroom. This is a tarot workshop series that I have kind of launched. You can look for the dates for September moving into October. They will be coming up usually on the weekends. Hopefully you can make it. Otherwise, if you have dates in mind that you prefer, or maybe days of the week in mind that you prefer, you can just let me know through DM on Instagram. If you haven't yet followed me, follow me on Instagram at Transmission Wellness. Helps the business grow, helps you feel encouraged also at the same time. What other things? Another thing I wanted to share, I will be starting to stream on Twitch, so that's a slightly more personal channel where I will answer questions and do kind of like channel Q&A. Maybe you want to like channel and ask questions from the divine, from specific archangels. If you're interested in that, you can find me on Twitch at Yum Yum Tom Yum. Alright, so without further ado, we're gonna jump right into the channel messages. Alright, this is for number 1. Alright, let's get it. Messages. Message number 1, okay. For all of you who've picked message number 1, this is something that's coming in a little more strongly. I feel quite a heavy energy in my heart. It feels a little bit like void. Can sometimes be mistaken as loneliness, but it actually isn't. I sense a bit of disappointment from situations. It doesn't mean that it's a bad thing that has happened, it's just disappointment, right? And there's a need to kind of like work through that, and this disappointment feels like it's going two ways, from the circumstances or another person that you're interacting with, and disappointment that you hold and have towards yourself. But the interesting thing is, this disappointment is not something that's truthful. It's based off a complex or this very critical voice that you've managed to kind of like develop from when you were younger. So your parents or your guardian who raised you gave you that tone of voice. So the disappointment is not actually yours. If you were to tap into your heart, you're not actually disappointed. In fact, there's a bit of this like sigh of relief that I'm sensing from how the situation's played out. So I think even though it might not be clear, there's so much to be celebrated right now, and I like to kind of encourage you to look towards the things that you can be excited about rather than the loss of this situation or the way it's played out. If it's anything but successful in your view and based off the goals you set previously, right? We are constantly changing and growing as individuals. You need to recognize that you are a different person than you were, let's say, maybe a month ago. And just in recognizing that, you should and have to be able to get into this head and heart space where you're able to hold yourself and say like, hey, like I've grown, I'm different, my goals look different now, and even though it's kind of sad that I didn't manage to achieve the outcome that I hoped for, it's okay to always change trajectory. And I think what's so beautiful about life is the fact that we can constantly move on to the next thing, and flexibility is such a great thing to have in your journey, and that allows you a lot more opportunities rather than being fixated on that one specific path. So on and off, when this thought comes into your head, that little voice that doesn't really serve you anymore, or when it questions like, are you sure you picked the right path? Just say yes. Yes, I have. I wouldn't have done it any other way, and I don't think you should either. And I don't think you should hope for it to have played out in any other way, because things are playing out in the best way possible for you. Yeah? Alright, so this is message number 1. We're gonna move on to message number 2. Hey, message number 2 is really interesting. So, for all of you who've picked this message, there's this burst of creativity and excitement that's coming in, and just sensing the energy is getting me all riled up, and I just feel like there's a lot to get into. It's almost like your mind is jumping everywhere, almost like ADHD kind of mind, like, oh my god, I have this and this and this and this, and you're starting to see so many opportunities. I feel like there's a lot of great things that are coming your way, and you're perhaps unable to see exactly what it looks like right now, but you get a sense that there's something more to your experience rather than the ones you've kind of like been through. Maybe I would say in the last 7 months, 7 to 9 months, a bit more, specifically. But there's a need for you to kind of get into the space to get excited about all these things that's to come. If you don't know what I'm talking about because you're confused AF, just look for the next exciting activity you can do. Look for all the spontaneous dates that you can go on with your friends, family, with your romantic partner, whoever, like last minute stuff. Be spontaneous. This is your key message. Allow yourself to just try different things. Don't think too much about it. When you're thinking too much about it, like you end up playing into all your different ego identities, words, and all the complexes, and it just basically complicates things, right? If in that moment that idea comes up, it feels right, take it. Don't even think about it. When a problem arises, then you figure things out. Don't try to kind of conceptualize how successful it can be, or rather like how poorly it can play out in the millions of ways even before it's played out in that way. And I'm not saying to not calculate your risk. Of course, like, don't go jumping off a building, but do it with a bit of sense. Okay, of course, sensibility, but don't over worry. Don't overthink. That's all I'm saying. All right. I think this message is just that. It's pretty straightforward. So, that's all for message number 2. Moving into message number 3. All right. Gonna pick up the message for message number 3. Message number 3 is interesting. You guys haven't been taking care of your body. I'm gonna call it out. And I can relate to this so much because it's something that I've been putting on hold for the longest time. There's a need to check in on your diet and be a little more conscious with what you're putting into your body. Yeah. So, what are you eating? Does it serve you in any way? Is it feeding you emotionally, mentally, physically? Are you feeding yourself from a space where your body is telling you yes, it wants it? When your body is telling you it wants it, is it craving due to habits? Is it craving it because it feels like it will be nourishing? You want to go into that space where you're picking out food that feels nourishing to you. It's not just a glutinous craving, you want to be able to look at the food and be like, yeah, this is gonna help me feel good, and not from a logical standpoint where it's like, yeah, this kind of food, this intake, it's gonna make me feel good. It's really just asking your body somatically. And just a quick technique to kind of share with you guys on how you can check with your body. It can be as simple as you like holding your heart and your belly and to ask like, do I want this food, yes or no? And if it's a strong yes, you'll feel it. If it's a yeah, I'm not really sure, that's most probably a no. And another method you can research on is muscle testing. So you test your muscle. That's another technique that you can pick up and learn to get answers from your body. If you're into the slightly more woo stuff, maybe you can buy yourself a pendulum just to check with your subconscious. That's another fun thing to do. But conscious eating is something that you should start to introduce into your life. I feel like this has been taking a backseat for you because you keep giving yourself the excuse, telling yourself you don't have the time to figure it out. You just get a quick meal, you just take what's readily available, you just jump into the next thing to indulge on because you haven't had time to indulge. The thing is, if you were to consciously eat for every other meal and you listen to your body well enough, there won't be one meal where you feel, oh, I need to kind of indulge in this one because I didn't indulge in the last one, right? So it's kind of like building up a healthier habit and way of doing things. And adulting is so hard, trust me. I know it's fucking annoying, but I think there's so much value in being able to take responsibility and accountability in owning this body that you have, this vessel that's to help you power through all your experiences and help you achieve all the goals that you have set for yourself. So without a healthy body, how are you going to get that done, right? So I think that's the message I have for you guys for message number 3. Yeah. Alright, we're gonna move into message number 4. Lonely nights. This feels like a romance reading. Whether or not you're single, in a situationship, or in a relationship, I feel a bit of loneliness when it comes to romantic experiences. Lonely nights doesn't have to be like actual lonely nights. It's just like, I feel a bit disconnected. I want a bit more connection. Here's the thing. You need to ask yourself why you feel ready for a partner, or you feel ready to receive better things in your partnership in a romantic aspect. We want always to be able to count on ourselves and be independent, and that's really good. It's very nice to have that, but when we are in this kind of an energetic space, why do we feel this way? Is it because we don't think that our partner is giving us enough, or the potential partner that you're dealing with is giving enough? If that's a clear sign, then it's to check in. Hey, what's wrong over here? Why does it not feel nourishing? Have I communicated this? If I haven't, I have to patiently speak it through, not expect my partner to know what I want. Then for some of you, if you're in a circumstances where you're actually single, are you allowing yourself to be brave enough to put yourself out there and not self-sabotage the connections that come up? Stop self-sabotaging, okay? And even for those of you who are in connections or relationships, stop self-sabotaging. Are you thinking from a space where your inner child is craving all the thing it wants from this partner or potential partner, and are you not giving that to yourself? Yeah, we can be very defiant at times, and especially the inner child, where we are like, we're deserving of this. I've worked through all my issues. I deserve a partner who shows up for me in this way. But are you willing to soften up your heart and put in the work required, meaning being brave and courageous, speaking up and communicating, not being embarrassed when it comes to sharing your thoughts, being patient when you're sharing your thoughts to the other party? right? This is for all of you who are dealing with a partner or situationship. But for those of you who are single, are you ready for that also? Think about the recent encounters that you've had. Have you shown up in that way with all the potential partners you've been dealing with? It's so damn easy for us to nitpick, but the truth is, if we allow ourselves to be open-hearted and allow ourselves to see the value in the person, that's not to say we give excuse for unhealthy behaviors. Alright, very different. But we cannot nitpick and be like, yeah, that's a sign of an unhealthy behavior, I'm gonna bounce immediately. You know, like, yes, based off empirical evidence, your own experiences, people who tend to show up like that stereotypically will show up in another way that's unhealthy. Yes, we know that, right? But every single individual is different. Have you given a person a chance and yourself a chance to get to know each other well enough? Have you given yourselves enough time to get to reintroduce each other to yourself in this partnership? Because essentially every person is gonna grow, and you know, love, as much as it being an emotion, right, it's also a choice at the end of the day. So are you choosing to open up your heart to be receptive? Are you choosing to be patient and kind, loving and gentle? Are you choosing to just be like, yeah, I'm gonna put myself first a little bit on this pedestal, deserve the best shit ever? You know? We are all humans, we have flaws, nothing is perfect. It's just how much of the triggers the person puts forth is something you're willing to take. If you're not willing to take it, and you wonder why you're in this boohoo kind of a state, that says a lot, huh? So allow yourself to be a bit more patient. That's the main message. And check in with yourself. Where's your ego speaking in this conversation when you're feeling unsatisfied? Okay. Any other messages? No, I think that's it for message number 4. We're jumping into message number 5. You guys, message number 5, I know what you guys are dealing with and you're trying to avoid it. You're going to be needing to shift into this space where you're meant to serve a larger purpose, larger group of people, community, organization. It's scary when you have to step up because it feels like a lot of responsibility and accountability, but remember, you're human, even though you're here to support a larger cause. The thing about this journey is it challenges all your ego identity, your self-limiting beliefs. It challenges you in ways that you wouldn't want to consider things from. So it's so nice to be able to live a life being a little more ignorant, less self-aware. But I think the value in your journey is the fact that you're so freaking privileged. You have the awareness you have, and you know the impact you can make. And if you allow yourself to be brave in this journey and allow yourself to face all the difficult thoughts, to constantly validate yourself, to be patient and kind, you're gonna succeed. You're gonna be able to support the people you're meant to support. And I feel like there's so much value in that. And I know this part of the journey might be tricky because you're facing all at once your fears. Every single time you're getting closer to where your next step is, your next larger goal is, you're being faced with all your insecurities, all your fears, all your worries, and even the things your ego would want to say to kind of put you off going on this path and trajectory. But if you allow yourself to see how and why you can actually get it done, all these things will melt away. And then it's kind of like actively speaking to your inner child, right? And letting your inner child know, like, hey, I know we have all these things that we have been actively working on healing. And by the way, there's no such thing as fully healed. Yeah, we're constantly working, and our new triggers will always show up and trigger all these complexes that we've developed since you're younger. It's just how you stand your ground and validate yourself and tell yourself you know what you're doing. That aside, you need to constantly soothe your inner child and let your inner child know you've got this. And it can be tricky when you're self-aware, because you might tell yourself you have it and you go down that path stubbornly, but it might be time to change trajectory. So there's this bit of complex, and perhaps another message from this video would be able to give you a bit more clarity on that. But don't stubbornly hold on to things that are no longer serving you. Let them go, because it's easier to surrender. I promise you, it's easier to surrender than to hold on to all these things for longer than you should. If this is something that you are already aware of, which is terrible, if this is not a clear enough message for you, then ask yourself what you need to feel a little more encouraged to shift out of the space and inch towards that space, inch towards that trajectory, the direction, that part of your journey that's meant to serve you and the larger communities that you're connected with. And allow yourself to lean into support from your friends. Ask for help. That's what it is. So that's your message for all of you who picked message number 5. Moving into message number 6. Alright. Message number 6. Here's something for you. Your ego is very, very clever. The newer one that you forged. You think you know what you're doing. Yes. But it is a way of working on things that used to serve your older self, an older version of yourself, essentially. What's going to serve the current version of yourself is something that's to be forged. You need to surrender a lot of the things that you think you know. Basically, going back to new beginner stage again and being like, yeah, even though I'm doing the same damn thing, I'm gonna do it from a different perspective with new eyes. Going to it from a standpoint and a headspace of a researcher, almost like, I'm gonna experiment and figure things out. Not from the ways that you've known how to do things, new ones. Okay? This is gonna be very, very valuable, because this new ego identity that's forged, that thinks it knows what it's doing, is actually blocking you from a lot of opportunities and new ways of doing things. And you stubbornly holding on to that old structure, even if it might be very creatively focused and very open-ended, that is still a form of structure. If you're stuck onto those old forms of structure, you're not allowing yourself to see things from a different perspective, to open up yourself to more opportunities. So basically, you're caught blocking yourself from being able to receive more stuff. You've been trying to manifest more. But if you don't let go of this old way of doing things, as good as it might be, or as good as it might seem, you're gonna be stuck here for a bit of time. And I know you don't want that, because you're manifesting the other things. You're ready to go for it. So let go of the things that no longer serve you. Have fun. Be free. Okay? That's it for message number 6. Let's move on to message number 7, our very last one, I believe. Go outside. Be close to nature. Be close to fresh air. Travel if you have to do that. Maybe because the urban city is somewhere you just cannot connect in that manner. Get out there, be close to nature, like plant your damn face into the leaves of the plants to like breathe the oxygen. Be close to dirt and soil. You need to ground down. You need to remember that you're smaller than you think you are in this whole universe. And you need to remember, as small as you are also supported by this larger, big system that is almost totally out of your control. Here's a reminder for you to know that you're supported and that you're human, and it's okay to not have everything figured out. Yeah. Allow yourself to be nourished by the world that we have. And see if there's any ways you can give back to it. Maybe plant a plant, buy a plant, get a tree, plant your own vegetables. Yeah. That's it for message number 7. And that's all I have for all of you. I hope you'll enjoy this reading. Something slightly different from usual. Again, follow me over here if you enjoyed the reading. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.